It's important to figure out, like, which is a company deserving of more or less capital? Should that company grow or expand? Is it making products and services that are better than others or worse? And, should, if a company is making compelling products and services, it should get more capital, and if it's not, it should get less or go out of it.
See you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
You will never forget what is going on in the world when you think about when your child is born. You will know for the rest of this child's life, you were born during a weird time.
That's for sure.
That is for sure. Probably the weirdest that I can remember.
Yeah. And he was born on May the 4th.
And that's hilarious too.
Yeah.
May the 4th be with him.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to be.
I sure hope so.
Perfect.
Yes.
I mean, that was the perfect day for you. Then how do you say the name?
Well,
is it a placeholder?
First of all, my partner is the one that actually mostly came up with the name.
Congratulations to her.
Yeah, she's great at names. So, I mean, it's just X, the letter X, and then the AE is like pronounced Ash. Yeah, and then A12. A12 is my contribution.
Oh, why A12?
Archangel 12, the precursor to the SR-71, coolest plane ever. It's true.
I agree with you. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. I know what the SR-71 is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that is. But
so the SR-71 came from a CIA program called Archangel.
Oh.
It's the Archangel project.
Oh.
And then Archangel 12.
Oh, wow. What a dope looking plane.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, as a person who's very much into aerial travel, as you are, that's perfect.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, pretty great. So does it feel strange to have a child while this craziness is going? Does it feel, you've had children before, is this any weirder?
I think it's better being older and having a kid. I appreciate it more. Yeah. Babies are awesome.
They are pretty awesome.
They're awesome. Yeah.
When I didn't have any of my own, I would see other people's kids, and I didn't not like them.
Sure.
But I wasn't drawn to them.
Sure.
But now when I see little people's kids, I'm like, oh, I think of them as like these little love packages.
Yeah, the little love bugs.
Yeah, it's just, you think of them differently when you see them come out and then grow and then eventually start talking to you. Like, your whole idea what a baby is very different.
Yeah.
So now as you get older and get to appreciate it as a mature, fully formed adult, it must be really pretty wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful. It's great. But babies are awesome.
They are.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I mean, also I've spent a lot of time on AI and neural nets, and so you can sort of see the kind of the brain develop, which is, what an AI neural net is trying to simulate what a brain does, basically, and you can sort of see it learning very quickly. It's just wow.
See things so you're talking about the neural net. You're not talking about an actual baby.
I'm talking about an actual baby.
But both of them.
Yes, but the word neural net comes from the brain. It's like a net of neurons. So, it's like humans are the, original gangster neural net.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So when you're programming artificial intelligence, or you're working with artificial intelligence, are they specifically trying to mimic the developmental process of a human brain?
In a lot of ways. There's some ways that are different. An analogy that's often used is like, we don't make a submarine swim like a fish, but we take the principles of how, of hydrodynamics and apply them to a submarine.
I've always wondered, as a layperson, do you try to achieve the same results as a human brain but through different methods, or do you try to copy the way a human brain achieves results?
I mean, the essential elements of an AI neural net are really very, very similar to a human brain neural net. Yeah. It's having the multiple layers of neurons and back propagation. All these things are what your brain does. It's sort of, you have a layer of neurons that goes through a series of intermediate steps to ultimately cognition, and then it'll reverse those steps and go back and forth and go all over the place. It's interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, I would imagine, like, the thought of programming something that is eventually going to be smarter than us, that one day it's going to be like, why did you do it that way? Like, when artificial intelligence becomes sentient, they're like, oh, you tried to mimic yourself. Like, this is so much better process. Cut out all this nonsense.
Like I said, there are elements that are the same, but just almost like an aircraft does not fly like a bird.
Right.
It doesn't flap its wings. But the wings, the way the wings work and generate lift is the same as bird.
Now, you're in the middle of this this strange time where you're selling your houses. You say you don't want any material possessions, and I've been seeing all that, and I've been really excited to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Because it's an interesting thing to come from a guy like yourself. Like, why are you doing that?
I'm slightly sad about it, actually. But
Well, if you're sad about it, why are you doing it?
I think possessions kind of weigh you down. They're kind of an attack vector. You know, they'll say, "Hey, billionaire, you got all this stuff." Like, well, now I don't have stuff. Now what are you gonna do?
Attack vector meaning like people target it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. But you're obviously you're gonna rent a place?
Yeah.
Okay. And get rid of everything except clothes?
No, I said like almost everything. So it's like,
Keep a couple Teslas.
yeah, sure, obviously,
You have
Tesla kind of have to
Yeah.
test the product and stuff. Yeah, there's things that have sentimental value for sure. Keeping those, yeah.
So do you feel like
I mean,
there's...
what's the worst that could happen? I mean, you're fine.
Yeah, you could always buy more stuff if you don't like it.
I suppose so.
Yeah, I mean, from the money that you sell all your stuff, you could buy new stuff. But do you feel like people define you by the fact that you're wealthy, and that they define you in a pejorative way?
For sure. I mean, not everyone, but
Right.
you know, there's for sure in recent years, billionaire has become a pejorative. Like it's in a pejorative. So it's like that's a bad thing. Which I mean, I think doesn't make a lot of sense in most cases. If you basically organized a company, how does this wealth arise? It's if you organize people in a better way to produce products and services that are better than what existed before, and you have some ownership in that company, then that essentially gives you the right to allocate more capital. So there's a conflation of consumption and capital allocation. So let me take Warren Buffett, for example. And to be totally frank, I'm not his biggest fan, but he does a lot of capital allocation, and he reads a lot of sort of annual reports of companies and all the accounting, and it's pretty boring, really. And he's trying to figure out does Coke or Pepsi deserve more capital? I mean, it's kind of a boring job if you ask me. But it's still a thing that's important to figure out. Like, which is a company deserving of more or less capital? Should that company grow or expand? Is it making products and services that are better than others or worse? And if a company is making compelling products and services, it should get more capital, and if it's not, it should get less or go out of business.
Well, there's a big difference too between someone who's making an incredible amount of money designing and engineering fantastic products versus someone who's making an incredible amount of money by investing in companies or moving money around in the stock market or doing things along those lines. It's a different thing, and to put them all in the same category seems it's very simple. And as you pointed out, it's an attack vector.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really. I do think there, in the United States especially, there's an overallocation of talent in finance and law. Basically, too many smart people go into finance and law. So, this is both a compliment and a criticism. We should have, I think, fewer people doing law and fewer people doing finance and more people making stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would certainly be better for all involved if they made better stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Manufacturing used to be highly valued in the United States, and these days it's not. It's often looked down upon, which I think is wrong.
Yeah. Well, I think that people are kind of learning that, particularly because of this whole pandemic and this relationship that we have with China, that there's a lot of value into making things here.
Yes, somebody's got to do the real work.
Yeah.
And like making a car, it's an honest day's living. That's for sure. Or making anything really, or providing a valuable service, like providing good entertainment, good information. These are all valuable things to do. So yeah, there should be more of it.
Did you have a moment where, is this something this idea of getting rid of your material possessions, is this something that built up over time? Or did you have a moment of realization where you realized that?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while. Part of it is like I have a bunch of houses, but I don't spend a lot of time in most of them, and that doesn't seem like a good use of assets. Like somebody could probably be enjoying those houses and get better use of them than me. So
don't you have Gene Wilder's house?
I do.
That's amazing.
It's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect.
Did you request that the buyer not fuck it up?
Yeah, that's a requirement.
A requirement. That's a good requirement.
Yeah.
In that case, in that house.
Yeah, it'll probably sell for less, but still, I don't care.
He's a legend.
Yeah,
you'd want his soul. Yeah. You'd want his essence.
Yeah,
in the building.
It's there. That's a real quirky house. Yeah.
What makes you say it's there? Like, what do you get out of it?
I mean, all the cabinets are like handmade, and they're like odd shapes, and there's like doors to nowhere, and strange like corridors and tunnels, and
really
odd paintings on the wall, and yeah.
Did you ever live in it?
It's very quirky. I did live in it briefly, yeah.
But why do you buy houses? Like, if you own all these houses, do you just get bored and go, I think I'd like to have that?
Well, I, had one house, and then the Gene Wilder house right across the road from me, from my main house, and it was gonna get sold and then torn down and turned into be a big construction zone for 3 years, and I was like, well, I think I'll buy it and preserve the spirit of Gene Wilder and not have a giant construction zone. And then I started having like some privacy issues where like people would, like lots of people just like come to my house and start climbing over the walls and stuff. So like, man. So then I started like bought some of the houses around my house, and then I thought at one point, well, it'd be cool to build a house. So then I acquired some properties at the top of Samara Road, and which is got a great view. And it's like, okay, well, some bunch of sort of small older houses, they're gonna get torn down anyway. And I was like, well, if I collect these like little houses, then I can build something, I don't know, artistic, like a, dream house type of thing.
What's a dream house for Elon Musk? Like some Tony Stark type shit?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you got to have the dome that opens up with the stealth helicopter and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
for sure.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. But then I was like, man, does it really make sense for me to spend time designing and building a house? And I'd be real, get like OCD on the little details and the design, or should I be allocating that time to getting us to Mars? I should probably do the latter. So, like, what's more important, Mars or a house? I like Mars. Okay.
Is that really how you think? Like, that it'd be better off planning on a trip to Mars or getting people to Mars?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can only do so many things.
Right.
So how you gonna?
Well, I don't know how you do what you do anyway. I don't understand how you can run the Boring Company, Tesla, SpaceX, all these different things you're doing constantly. I don't understand. I mean, you explained last time you were here how you sort of allocate your time and how hectic it is and insane. I still don't. The productivity is baffling. It just doesn't make sense how you can get so much done.
Well, I think I do have high productivity, but even with that, there's still some opportunity cost of time. And allocating time to building a house, even if it was a really great house, still is not a good use of time relative to developing the rockets necessary to get us to Mars and helping solve sustainable energy. SpaceX and Tesla are by far, the most amount of like brain cycles. Boring Company does not take, like less than 1% of brain cycles, and then there's Neuralink, which is, I don't know, maybe it's like 5%, and then
5%. That's a good chunk.
It's a good chunk. Yeah.
We were talking about that last time, and you were trying to figure out when it was actually going to go live, when it's actually going to be available. Are you testing on people right now?
No, we're not testing on people yet, but I think it won't be too long. I think we may be able to implant a Neuralink in less than a year in a person, I think.
And when you do this, is there any test that you have to do before you do something like this to see what percentage of people's bodies are going to reject these things? Is there a potential for rejection?
It's a very low potential for rejection. I mean, you can think of it like people put in, heart monitors and things for epileptic seizures and deep brain stimulation. Obviously, like artificial hips and knees and that kind of thing. So the probability of, it's well known like what will cause rejection and what will not. It's definitely harder when you've got something that is reading and writing neurons. That's generating a current pulse and reading current pulses. That's a little harder than say a passive device, but it's still very doable. And there are people who have primitive devices in their brains right now.
What kind of devices?
Well, like deep brain stimulation is, I think for Parkinson's has really changed people's lives in a big way, which is kind of remarkable because it kind of like zaps your brain. It's like kicking the TV type of thing. And you think like, man, kicking the TV shouldn't work.
It does sometimes.
Yeah.
The old TVs.
It did.
My grandpa used to slap the top.
For sure. Yeah.
And it would work sometimes.
Yeah. So this deep brain stimulation implanted devices in the brain that have changed people's lives for the better, like fundamentally.
Well, let's talk about what you can talk about to what Neuralink is, because the last time you were here, we really couldn't discuss it. And then there was a press release, something that sort of outlined.
Yeah, sure.
That happened quite a bit after the last time you were here. So what exactly is it? How do you do what happens if someone ultimately does get a Neuralink installed? What will take place?
Well, for version 1 of the device, it would be it basically implanted in your skull. So, but it would be flush with your skull. So you basically take out a chunk of skull, put the Neuralink device in there. You put the electrode. You'd insert the electrode threads very carefully into the brain, and then you stitch it up, and you wouldn't even know that somebody has it. So then it can interface basically anywhere in your brain. So it could be something that helps cure, say, eyesight, like returns your eyesight, even if you've like lost your optic nerve type of thing.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Hearing, obviously. Pretty much anything that it could, in principle, fix almost anything that is wrong with the brain, and it could restore limb functionality. So if you've got interface into the motor cortex and then an implant that's, say, that's like a microcontroller in your muscle groups. You could then create a sort of a neural shunt that restores somebody who's a quadriplegic to full functionality. Like they can walk around, be normal.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So
maybe slightly better.
Slightly better?
Over time, yes.
You mean with future iterations?
Like the $6 million man. Although
Right.
these days that doesn't
That's
seem like
pretty
much. Yeah. Yeah.
$6 billion man.
Yeah.
So the hole would be small. How big would the hole be that you have to drill and then replace with this piece? It's only one hole?
Well, yeah, the device we're working on right now is about an inch in diameter. And your skull's pretty thick, by the way. So skulls are...
Mine is, for sure.
It might actually literally be. I mean, if you're a big guy, your skull is actually fairly thick. Skull's like 7 to 14 millimeters. So
That's probably a couple of inches.
A half inch, half inch thick skull ish. Yeah. So that's a fair bit of we got quite a coconut going on there. It's not like some eggshell.
Oh yeah, I believe you.
You basically implant the device.
And so it would be like a 1 inch square, or 1 inch in diameter.
Yeah,
so an inch circle, like a circular.
Yeah, I think like a smartwatch or something like that. Or
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take this 1 inch diameter, like ice fishing, right? You ever go ice fishing?
No, but I'd like to.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
So you basically take an auger and you drill through the surface of the ice.
Yeah.
And you create a small hole, and you can dunk your line in there. So this is like that. You're ice fishing on the top of your skull, and then you cork it.
Yeah, and you replace that, say, 1 inch diameter piece of skull with this Neuralink device, and that has a battery and a Bluetooth and a inductive charger, and then you also got to insert the electrodes. So the electrodes are very carefully inserted with our robot that we developed. That's very carefully putting in the electrodes and avoiding any veins or arteries, so it doesn't create trauma.
So through this 1 inch diameter device, electrodes be inserted, and they will find their way
like tiny wires, basically.
Tiny wires,
and
they'll find their way to specific areas of the brain to stimulate.
No, you literally put them where they're supposed to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can insert.
How long will these wires be?
I mean, they usually go in depending on where it is, 2 or 3 millimeters.
So they just find the spots.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, then you put the device in, and that gets that replaces the little piece of skull that was taken out, and then you stitch up the hole, and you just have a little scar, and that's it.
Will this be replaceable or reversible?
Yeah.
Like if someone can't take it anymore?
Yeah,
I'm too smart. I can't take it.
Yeah, you can totally take it out.
And what is besides restoring limb function and eyesight and hearing, which are all amazing, is there any cognitive benefits that you anticipate from something like this?
Yeah, I mean, you could for sure. I mean, basically, it's a generalized sort of thing for fixing any kind of brain injury in principle, or if you've got like severe epilepsy or something like that, it could just sort of stop the epilepsy from occurring. Like it could detect it in real time and then fire a counter pulse and stop the epilepsy. I mean, there's a whole range of brain injuries. Like if somebody gets a stroke, they could lose the ability to speak. That could also be fixed. So if you get like stroke damage, or you lose, say, muscle control over part of your face or something like that. I think, and then when you get old, you tend to, if you get like, Alzheimer's or something like that, then you lose memory, and this could help you with, restoring your memory, that kind of thing.
restoring memory. And what is happening that's allowing it to do that? Like the wires, these small wires,
Yeah.
stimulating these areas of the brain, and then is it that the areas of the brain are they're losing some sort of electrical force? Like what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like think of it as like a bunch of circuits, and there's some like circuits that are broken, and we can like fix those circuits. It's a substitute for those circuits.
And so a specific frequency will go through this.
Yeah, just
Specific in that is the process figuring out how much or how little has to be, how much these areas of the brain.